hello. I figured I'd sneak a little review down in there when I have a little bit of excess time. I woke up fairly early. I love this song. Whiz Pig, Diddy Kong Racing. I love that song. Let's hop on into this. Well, I think I'd like to point out a few things that some other people have graciously let me know. Some things I can change, some things I can't change, unfortunately. The number one thing that I've been getting a lot is, hey Q, you start to get off on tangents and things like that, and then you start rambling, and when you're trying to explain something, you keep coming back to it and you keep harping over the single thing. We understand, we get it, Q. You don't have to tell us 50,000 times that 2 plus 2 is 4. We understood the first time. And the thing about it is, I understand that you might personally get it, like when you're in school and the teacher's teaching a subject that you generally already know about, or you're at a higher level of learning than the class that you're in. People tend to read ahead of the book or finish the class assignments while the teacher's teaching because they already know the material. That's good for you. There are people out there that don't understand things and need things thoroughly explained to them, which is why I go through those lengths. If you don't like that I'm harping over a particular thing, just skip ahead, like 30 or so seconds, 2 minutes or whatever. Skip ahead till you see the screen scrolls. Because generally, when I start to talk about something, I won't move my mouse or anything like that, or won't adjust the screen very much. When I get done, or if I'm trying to emphasize something, I generally move something on the screen to let people know, hey, I'm talking about something new, or hey, this needs to be really emphasized. So those of you that say I ramble and I just keep talking on and on and on and on like I'm doing now, it's for a reason. This is how you teach people. This is how you keep people informed about things. I'm not here to entertain per se, you know. I'm not here to give you fake reactions and things like the mainstream YouTubers and things like that do. If I was here for that kind of entertainment, I mean, you know, like when I'm playing games and things like that, it's more spontaneous and a lot quicker and I talk a lot less. That's when's the time to entertain or have fun or, you know, do all the reactions and things like that. But when you're trying to do something informative, I want to make sure everybody understands what I'm talking about, not to just, you know, just be that guy where you can come into a meme review or something like that, start talking about things, harping, being a little, you know, joking, going left and right, and then by the end of the episode, everybody's like, yeah, good episode. But if you go back and look at those videos, guess what? Nobody learned a goddamn thing, and nothing was really taught about that particular subject at all. They just got on, did the usual, you know, BSing that they do, and sent it. Nobody learned that dang thing. Not one. Then you go to the higher quality, you know, informational videos that has experiments and things like that. They generally do, you know, experiments to keep your attention. I cannot incorporate all of this into I can't make your killers and keep everything interesting and like play a game with, you know, a set of friends and things like that and show you the problems that I have with the issues and things. We haven't evolved that far yet in the Dead by Daylight community. So if you want entertainment, you know, you need to be putting more ideas into the forum and saying, hey, behavior, make it the where, you know, it's easier for us to incorporate our own killer ideas, or, you know, to be able to design things and set things up in a private lobby, because then I can go through, take a couple of ideas from this forum, make them myself, pseudo make them, or if it's really good, take the time to make it. And then boom, incorporate it into a private lobby, get a group of people together, and then I can show you the ins and outs and what I'm talking about better. Until I have that particular ability, you're going to have to essentially get all of that information through what I'm saying, which is why I go into a lot of detail. It's boring. Yes, for some people, yes. But I mean, if it's your particular concept and you're looking for ideas and things like that, I want to give everybody the same amount of information for the most part, so that they can succeed, as opposed to entertain the audience. The only thing I want the audience to do is to, well, one, look at the description and find out about the alternative killers thing. That's what my general thing is to push. It's just that concept. I'm not trying to become famous. I'm not trying to become a full-time YouTuber or anything like that. My primary goal is to set up an entirely new system, or bring back an old system if you prefer. Dead by Daylight standards. That's the only objective. I'm not going to change the way I am, because what I'm doing I know is right for the most part, even if it's considered boring to some people. Said if you're an advanced individual and I seem like everything's harping to you, just pause the video, go to the bathroom, eat a snack or something, come back, or just skip through or open up another video and do something else in the meantime till I get back to the main subject. If you're somebody who, is a little bit slower, I mean, I hope you appreciate that I'm taking the time to explain things in multiple different ways and try to put two and two together for you. So everything can, flow naturally, everybody gets on the same page. I do reviews, I do lectures and things like that. I can't say almost daily, but more times than a week than you think I would. Because it's not almost daily, because I do take days off quite frequently. So, but a large amount of time, yes. Then I also stream and things like that, which generally the days I take off are when I go into these long streams and I'm like, hey, I don't feel like talking anymore. But anyway, let's actually get into the content. Oh, no, one more thing. The other thing people are talking about is like background sounds and things like that. I cannot do anything that I've already done about background sounds. I mean, the static and stuff that comes from my mic, I can adjust the mic in different ports. Kind of twist the inputs and things like that to try to find that magical angle. But beyond that persistent sound that you always hear is literally my tower that's literally sitting right beside my head. Like I could lean my head over and lay on it right now. That sound, unfortunately, like noise cancellation, all of that's not going to do anything. The only other thing I could do, well, I guess I could get like noise dampening foam and place it over the case on one side to prevent some of the noise from coming through, but I mean, I also don't want it to overheat either. And I know I'll forget to remove it because it'll be there for a while. So I don't want to destroy my hardware for a little bit of sound that leaks through. Speaking of sound, case on one side to prevent some of the noise from coming through, but I mean, I also don't want it to overheat either. And I know I'll forget to remove it because it'll be there for a while. So if you turn the sound up extremely high, you can hear that sound. And that sound is the processor. Nothing I can do about that. That's just kind of what you're going to hear whenever it happens, unfortunately. Is that Galanonim? Is that who I seen just pop on in there? I'm actually going to go ahead and name this video. I got time. It's the start. Why not take time to prepare now? We're going to go DBD shorter creation review. And while I'm naming this, I also finished the other Splinter Cell game. Woohoo! And I'm going to be starting Chaos Theory because Pandora Tomorrow I actually do not have downloaded, and it costs like $15, and I have a lot of other games to get through, so I don't think that loss of one game, which I don't particularly like, to be honest with you, is gonna hurt me in any possible way. So, in that particular case, I think I just seen myself pop into my own stream. Kind of funny. But, anyway, Chaos Theory is by far one of my favorite games Splinter Cell series-wise, so it shouldn't be as scuff cells as the other ones. There's a lot more movement, a lot more mechanics, a lot more athleticism, a lot more, everything's completely different than what you've seen me play in the first game. The first game's very minimal. I do play them essentially the same to an extent, but you know, things are a lot different. You're not gonna see me walking around shooting every single light that I come through or come towards, and everything that you use isn't as inaccurate as they were in the other game. Unless, you know, you panic and just hold the trigger down. But, you'll see the differences. It's a lot better, a lot smoother, and allows you to free movement through a lot more things than what you usually can. So look forward to it. I do. I come to realize I don't remember much. I remember a couple of levels, but I don't remember how they work through or anything like that. So it's going to be almost new, but it's going to be very nostalgic for me, or have nostalgia for it. Anyway, actually, there's one last very important thing about that Splinter Cell thing. Restream has made everything that I've put out scuff. So I'm gonna run the very first, like, very small mission that Chaos Theory has. It's very quick. You go through, you get things done, and then you extract. It's like a tutorial mission, but it's a full mission where you learn tutorial things. I'm gonna run that through Restream. If it comes out scuffed and choppy and things like that, I probably will take Chaos Theory off of the Twitch market. It'll just be straight YouTube, at least through Chaos Theory. When it comes to Double Agent, I really ain't a big fan of the game. I don't care. I'll throw it on Twitch. Conviction, it's just fun and games. You can go to Twitch, Blacklist, same. But Chaos Theory, I do want to actually record my entire experience. And I don't want it to be, you know, just laggy and choppy. Because, I mean, this is also an archive for me to come back to and look at in the future. And have some nostalgia and things like that. And I don't want it to be all choppy and scuff. So Chaos Theory is the one exception that I will not allow to be choppy and scuffed, at least stream wise. When I'm playing, it is what it is, but when I'm streaming it, the stream is going to be 100% decent, or I'm just going to drop the Twitch and restream and go straight through how I'm recording now. If anything does end up scuff, I will just reload the game or go back in and replay whatever mission's scuff if I have to, if it comes down to it. I love the game. I love playing it. and I'll probably love explaining things about it for people who don't know. But that's the last thing I wanted to say about it, because I am very much looking forward to it. I may play some today. I don't think I'm going to, but I might play some today. But I really want to get a good night's sleep and start off tomorrow. Because I know I probably won't be able to stop at just one mission a day unless I get stuck and forget what to do with particular parts. Then I might rage quit. It won't be a rage quit, I just won't play as often. Anyway, let's get into it. First thing is going to be the Arson of Dust fan-made DBD chapter. Per my criteria, since they want it to be an entire chapter, it cannot be put up for any type of alternative killer review. And that's going to be part of all of my criteria. If you want to take the time to make a particular chapter with your own unique thing, your own unique twist, and put, the seal of approval on it, I'm not going to butt in and say, oh, well, this person's work that they poured into creating all of this could be an alternative killer, and essentially cut all the work out you did, like, and compare it to another killer and be like, yeah, you can be in their shadow. Like, no. Be your own. Arson of Dust. New killer, the Arsonist. They're going for a typically hard to play character. Alright. We are starting off with perks, which again, I find it very interesting. I mean, I know the format that everybody's going off of when they put perks first and then the power and all of that. But the thing you have to realize is when you're putting these together, you're wanting to present your character or killer, survivor, whatever it is, to people. The thing which you really want to show is you want to have an overview that brings people in. You know what your killer's about. Is it a pursuing killer? Is it a stealth killer? Etc. Etc. Or survivor wise, is it altruistic, bold, sneaky? However your survivors, perks are supposed to be played. Hello? Alrighty then. Forget the phone call. So you want to have a nice overview from the start so people know, what to expect, and they have some sort of idea in their head as they read what kind of killer you're trying to throw out. 2, I always say the power should come first. Why the power? Because that is the crux. That is the, that is the meat of your whole creation, your idea. If the power sucks, most people, they're clocking out after that. They might go down, skip to the bottom, and see what the perks are to see, maybe it's got good perks and things like that. But a lot of people will clock out if the power doesn't really, suit their needs. Now, I know why people put perks first, and how that particular, how it's set up like this. Because, you want to save the best for last when it comes to, in some cases, you want to shove out perks first because, people are going to wait to see the power. They're going to be interested in what the power is. If you put perks before power, they'll then look at the perks and all of that. And then they can then look at the power and run things through like that to, it just makes it enticing. It's kind of a hook, line, and sinker. You give them the bait with a couple of perks, and then you throw out the power to really wow them at the end. Which is completely fine, but when I come through and I'm looking at a review over something, And I go through and I'm like, yeah, okay, killer's a hard killer, very hard to play. Okay, let's see what's hard about this particular killer. And then I see perks and I'm like, huh? You know, I want to see power. I want to see what's next in line. I want to see things, in order. You haven't made it past that line to where you want to mix things up. You haven't gotten that acceptance yet. So when you're shooting your shot or pitching your ball or making that first attempt to get your foot in the door, you want to start off strong. You want to come in as strong as possible. You want to let everything go, boom. Here's my power. Here's the crux of everything. This is what makes everything amazing. Well, after, the brief overview. Very brief. Shouldn't be more than just a couple of sentences like this little bit right here. It should be maybe no more than 4 lines from there to there. Very just brief overview saying what kind of killer you are. The purpose of your killer, what they're made there for. Then I want to see the power. I want you to throw me something, strong that makes me say, wow, this is an amazing concept and things like that. Pitch your shot. Once you have that foot in the door, then you can switch to this kind of format and show perks first, then powers first, because you have a foot in the door. You already have that, hook in. Then this format becomes a lot more powerful. But until you get that hook in, if you put perks first, it's going to be a lot weaker than if you have your power first, especially if you have a good power. So the thing about it is, if I read through these and all of these perks are crappy, I might just skip the rest of the killer, because I'm going to assume that, well, I'm not going to skip it because, I'm reviewing things, but if I wasn't, doing reviews and I seen that the perks were bad, I'm going to be out. I'm not even going to take the time to stay and look at the power because I know the perks are kind of whack, so I'm not going to, turn around and continue to read any further. I have the information I need from the beginning. And if you ain't got a decent start, you probably ain't got a decent finish either. So like I said, if it sounds, interesting and the perks ain't that bad, I might skip down, briefly read the power, skim through it to see what it is, and then go to the next concept. Probably won't leave any type of, comments or anything like that. Or anything, just skip through, see that this concept's not good if I wasn't reviewing them, of course. Skip through, see the concept's not good, leave, go to the next one. Find one that's, amazing, go through, comment on them, give them positive feedback, and continue on. So keep in mind when you're sitting things down, you want to keep it interesting. If you have some bomb perks, and the perks are essentially better than the power, throw some perks out there, man. Throw the perks first. Whatever one's going to keep people interested longer. Then go into a power. Even if the power's not so good, they can at least say, well, the perks are decent. I'm not sure about the killer, but this perk can be incorporated somehow. Play your cards to the strong, or, yeah, we're the strongest. Take time, get everything perfect. If you're going to go off of a template, which this is what this is just the basic template. Try to change it up. Try to make it different from everybody else's. Make it unique somehow. Add in something, change something. Make it eye candy. Make it good, when the eyes are looking at it and reading it. Make it look nice to the eyes, satisfying to read, then make it feel good for the brain to read. But anyway, the arsonist, which is made to be a hard character, starts out with a hex perk. First thing, hex perk. When a survivor is close to a totem, they gain the exposed status effect. Once they leave the totem's area, they maintain the status effect for 40 seconds. This works for hex totems only. That is the absolute worst setup that you can have for a hex perk. So, when you're near a hex perk, you get the exposed status effect. But in order to counter the hex perk, you have to be affected by the hex perk. You know what I'm saying? So when you walk over to the hex perk to deactivate, break, whatever, the hex perk, you're essentially activating the hex perk. It's very weird. 2. Exposed status effect when working on a totem. Okay. The problem you have with this is the 40 seconds after you leave the totem's area. If I run this hex metaphor with just hex undying or anything else, hex undying, the regular things, and then any hex that gives you a notification when a survivor is working on a hex totem, so you know where they're working on. All you gotta do is wait, run 4 hexes, and anytime somebody goes near a hex, walk over and then instantly down them. You don't even have to stop gen progress at that point. You just walk over, down that person, go to the next person who finds a hex totem, down them. So I said, if you have, the right mixture of hexes, you can force survivors to keep going and trying to break hex totems over and over and over and over. Especially if you run hex undying. You can literally just walk over, bam, smack that guy, hook them, go to the next person working on a totem, down them, hook them, go to the next person working on them, or just continue the gen patrol if they're not going for totems. And you can get that Devour of Hope trigger. Once you get 3 of those, you get the exposed status effect for essentially till they break them. The thing about it is, anytime they walk near any of your hex totems, they're going to get a notification that you're going to get a notification that they're working on it. And if they elect to not stick that totem and walk away, they're still affected by the exposed status effect for 40 seconds afterwards. If they accidentally walk by an area, or if there's a hex totem that spawns near a generator entrance or anywhere near any type of tile, if they walk by it, they're going to get the exposed status effect and be like, well, what just happened? Because you didn't say anybody working on it. It says anybody close to the totem. So I could be getting chased by a killer and just happen to turn into where a totem is, and boom, I'm now exposed and going to go down in one hit. And like I said, if you're running 4 hexes, that is 4 out of 5 totems, and Hex Undying will let you see anybody that goes near the dull totem, just in case. Any dull totem, so if you want to save no ad for the end, for if they do manage to take out this particular hex, you essentially are going to have the ability to apply exposed for a majority of the game. Because Haunted Ground's probably going to be thrown in there. If you want to throw no ad in there, that's in game. Haunted Ground, Hex Undying, that's up to 2 activations of that if they get it twice. If not, that's 1, but that's still a minute. Plus, they're going to get 40 seconds anytime that they walk anywhere near that. Another thing is, which I don't point out often, but since it's become a problem here recently, what is the scaling on this particular thing? Because I generally don't worry about scaling, but it's become an issue lately because everybody wants to double scale and things like that. There's no scaling here. Is the status effect going to last longer? Is it going to go all the way up to 60 seconds here? Is the area at which the totem, the proximity to the totem, is that going to go up? Is it going to go down? Like, what's going to be the scaling for this? Also, this has no negative towards killer at all. It has no type of cooldown. It has no type of anything. What you have is essentially a boon totem that applies a negative effect to survivors that walk within its area. Killers don't have boon totems. The closest thing you'll have is the rekindled totem, which is specific to the artist and her perk. So if you want boon totems for killers, get the artist and get her shareable perk, and then there you go. That's essentially what you have there. Except for it's not an area of effect. It just applies directly to survivors because, well, there's a lot more of them than there are you. Anything or any type of totem that tries to do an area of effect, you have to realize where totem spawns are. And I doubt that Tuna DBD knows most of the totem spawn locations for each map. Because if they did, they probably wouldn't have incorporated this being a proximity thing. So I would rework this perk or remove it completely and then go back to the drawing board and try to make something more feasible for Dead by Daylight. Because as it sits now, you just have this super OP perk that's essentially going to be a meta perk. Hex meta 4, Hex meta perk. Not a very good thing. Fired up is almost like fire up. Fire up, now you just added a D to the end to make it fired up. I would change that name because it's too close to another perk name. Let's see. When a survivor fails a skill check, the repairs begin to regress the generator until they hit a good or great skill check. This needs to be further defined. 1. It's good, but it has no negatives. If a survivor failing his skill check makes the generator regress, then there needs to be some associated negative to this perk. If that's how you want to do, they miss, makes everything regress, then they should not be punished for the whatever, like 3 or 4% or however much it is for missing the skill check. There should be no penalties. So when you miss it, there should be no gen explosion, no notification, no nothing. That'll be the negative associated to this perk, something like that. Then the generator begins to regress until the survivor hits a good or great skill check. I would personally make it a great skill check because you're going to have to incorporate a system in as well to this perk to increase the amount of skill checks a survivor gets after they miss one. Because I've worked on gens where I've only gotten one skill check the whole time, and I've worked on other gens where I just get back to back to back to back. I think the most skill checks I got in a row was like 6 or 8, just back to back to back to back. They just kept going. So, you're gonna have to incorporate almost like a brand new part to where it's just a skill check after skill check after skill check that procs every X amount of seconds, which would be scaling for this particular perk as well. But you need to incorporate something besides just this base, because it will not work with just this sentence that you popped there. It needs more meat. And then it is just my job when a survivor is hooked. Every review that I've done, I think the last like 6, everybody is starting their perks with when a survivor is hooked. And then the next thing that comes after a survivor being hooked or a survivor missing a skill check or something like that is a scream, some sort of reveal, and some sort of aura read. What's going to happen next? Let's see. When a survivor is hooked, the survivor closest to you screams and their aura is revealed for 3, 4, and 5 seconds. Why is everybody so fixated on screaming and aura reveal perks? Every single person does the same perk. It's the same. It's either attached to a hook in a scream or a generator in a scream. Every time. Every single killer. Please, look at other people's creations. Please, look at other people's creations. Look at the more popular creations. Look at the lower creations. Look at the perks and killer, the perks of the game, survivor and killer wise, before you try to incorporate something. Look at like perks. When a survivor is hooked, the survivor closest to you screams and their aura is revealed for 5 seconds. This is essentially a close range barbecue and chili, which already exists perk wise for a killer, by the way. This is just a close range barbecue and chili. That's it. Now, if all survivors are together out in the distance, then it is just regular barbecue and chili. But what's the odds of all the survivors being together way out on the other side of the map? You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to be closer in some aspect, and then boom, you're going to get essentially a barbecue and chili activation with a notification for 5 seconds, which is an extra second. But instead of it being all survivors, it's just the one closest to you, which is the one you generally want to go after, is the closest person. If somebody's going for a quick unhook or something like that, you just ruin their plans. If somebody's working on a gen trying to stick it, you just ruin their plans. If anybody's doing anything near you to try and help this survivor, you are ruining their plans. I encourage everybody that wants to incorporate perks. 1, stop incorporating screaming and aura reveal together. There's a lot of perks that do that. For instance, like the spirit, for example. If you're within her terror radius and she downs somebody, you scream. There's already perks like that incorporated into the game. Stop trying to incorporate the same thing over and over. There's already perks that cover this. Same thing. Look at the perks that are available. Try to make something new. Don't keep combining perks. So what you have here is a barbecue and chili, but it works for one survivor, and it's the one closest to you. Again, for the people that hate me repeating myself, again, when you use barbecue and chili, you generally want to go after the person closest to you because you only have 4 seconds. This is the same as essentially barbecue and chili. You just don't know the locations of everybody at that particular time, or anybody that's close to you at barbecue and chili. Stop incorporating like perks that make or that have the same purpose or do the same thing. It's like me saying, hey, did you read this book? And you saying, yeah, I read that book. Read and read. It's the same thing. It just means different things, but it's the same thing. It is picking up the book, going through the pages, and completely reading the book. Same thing. Anyway, well, I mean, for this part, don't even go back to the drawing board. I would recommend you take all of these perks, make them more unique, go back to the drawing board, and go ahead and spend the actual additional time doing research and redoing all of these perks. As they are now, I personally would say no to all of them. You can incorporate some of these in a much different way. Like the fire dub, could be incorporated, could be good, but it needs to be reworked or redone. Back to the drawing board perk wise. Power wise, I can see that this is extremely short. And remember what I was saying earlier, if you don't have a good start, people aren't going to stay around to see all of this. You even have a survivor incorporated. If I was a regular person, I would have been out. I would have skimmed through, seen totem exposed status effect, said nope. Here, skill check regression, said maybe. Went here, seen this, and I would have been out. Especially after seeing the power is fairly short. I would have been out. Gone. I wouldn't even stay to look at the survivor. You gotta understand, when you're making a concept, a full chapter that you want to call it, even though this isn't even a full chapter, it's got to have heavy detail. You have to lay it all out bare. You have to explain what's going on in that head of yours. Do not leave anything to be assumed. Show them your design. Explain it. Explain it, double explain it, triple explain it. So when you do get feedback, you're not just going to get feedback saying, well, I don't understand this. Or this sounds good, maybe, or you won't get full feedback that you're looking for. I'm not going to harp on it anything longer. I kind of want to get this through so I can get on to the next concept. Is it cruel of me to speak this way about this concept? Yes, this person, Tuna DBD, did absolutely nothing wrong. I have no malice about him, no malice or anything like that, and having an arsonist that deals with fire would bring something new to Dead by Daylight if incorporated right. The thing is, but recently I've just seen people putting down the same things. Like I said, the last couple that I've reviewed had exact same perks. None of these perks are getting picked up by behavior, and they go all the way back because they are already incorporated into the game. Do some sort of research. I understand you're just kind of record what's in your brain and then send it. But I mean, this has been edited and a whole bunch of other things. Like, do some research. If you think a perk sounds good, there's probably already a perk similar to it in the game. If not, then you can go from there. But do some checking, do research, do something. Like, you're essentially being lazy, and you don't want laziness in your concept. Like this. This is laziness. This isn't going to explain anything. I don't even have to read this to tell you there's going to be a lot of things that need to be explained that aren't explained here. It's too short. Let's see what it does. Press and hold the active ability to hold your Molotov cocktail. Active ability button. So what does the power button do? The power button, Dead by Daylight, is the thing that readies something. So what you're saying already from the start is you're holding the active ability button, so there should be something else incorporated into this that says power button. There's not. You can tell by how short it is. There isn't. So already from there, even though you followed a specific concept and a specific template, you already started off kind of wrong. Power button to hold your Molotov cocktail. When throwing the cocktail, I'm assuming that it's a charge up like a hatchet or something from the Huntress, or maybe you press the secondary button to throw it. Maybe the active ability button lights the cocktail and then the power button gives you an option to throw it. I don't know. It's not explained. When throwing the Molotov and it hits a survivor, it catches the survivor on fire. So it has to directly hit a survivor. Or are you trying to incorporate splash damage or something like that, like the clown? I don't know. Literally says it has to hit the survivor, so if it lands beside him, the Molotov does nothing. If it hits the survivor, it catches them on fire. The survivor will only have 25 seconds to remove the fire. How do they remove the fire? Do they pat it out? Like what? Stop, drop, and roll? What? And then you're going to have to think about, all the different perks and things that can potentially counter that. If they fail to remove the fire, they'll go into the dying state. 4 water buckets will be laying around the trial. So what you're saying is, there's only 4 water buckets around the trial, and you have 25 seconds after getting hit with a Molotov. You have 25 seconds to get away from the killer, aka in chase, then find a water bucket, then however much time it takes for you to pick the water bucket up or do whatever you're supposed to do with the water bucket to douse yourself. And all of this has to be done under 25 seconds. This is why I ask people to explain things. I'm generally nicer about it, but it's coming to the point to where people are just half-assing things, and it's kind of starting to get a little bit ridiculous. He wants to add a new status effect called the burning status effect. Why not just go off of the deep wound status effect? Why am I saying why not just use the deep wound status effect? Because it says you want to add in a new burning status effect, but you don't say what the burning status effect does. If the burning status effect only adds the deep wound timer, then what's the point of making a new status effect? You don't even say what it does. You start the trial with 5 Molotovs and you can reload them at a locker. Why 5? Are you going off with the Huntress's hatchets again, or why 5? Are the Molotovs pre-lit when you pull them out, or do you have to light them and then throw them? What's the delay on that? The water buckets, you obviously are going to have more than 4 water buckets. If anything, why not just use fountains like the Plague's fountains that people can run to and just douse themselves or extinguish the fire there? Like I said, there was no thought put into how they can incorporate this. He throws Molotov cocktail. Somebody probably said, well, how do you put the fire out? Well, there's buckets laying around. That's lazy. That is extremely lazy. So when you're on fire, well, let's just add a new status effect called burning that starts a timer. You have deep wound status effect. How's about instead of a pseudo burning effect that they have, how's about after being put on fire and doing all of that, you just add that, layer of burning to the survivor, give them a small trail like the serum gives them, that light up effect or the cosmetic effect, but make that fire, and then start a deep wound timer. That way they don't have to design a whole bunch of different things. This is laziness. This is borderline stole work, or copied work, I should say. This is sheer laziness. It makes no sense for somebody to post a particular concept like this and call it a chapter by everything, like a complete chapter, and it be lazy. This much right here is essentially everything, because the add-ons and all of that aren't going to work well with this power, because there's nothing that you've wrote about the power. What are you going to do? Oh, one less bucket in trial. Oh, expend time burning. I don't even know, you know, what incorporates them to actually burning. They have to be clonked in the head with a Molotov. They burn for 25 seconds. Those are the only things you talked about, is burn duration and water buckets. Other than that, you have to go generic with add-ons. Not very good. Oh, and the amount of Molotovs. Can't forget about that. You gotta increase the amount of those too. I'm disappointed. A very good concept that could have been thought of and incorporated into something amazing was just thrown out there and then left to basically die. Like I said, this is the equivalence of bad parenting. You had a child, you didn't apply the child, and then you sent the child into the real world to fail. It's not a good thing to do. Anybody watching this, please do not just add unfinished, unpolished things into the form and then call it a chapter. If he was to say, new killer idea, new killer and survivor idea, and left it, open, or put work in progress or something like that, okay. But Arson of Dust, fan-made DBD chapter. How is this going to be made into a chapter, son? There's nothing here to make into a chapter. It's empty. It's absolutely empty. I don't even want to go any farther, but I'm going to. I'm not going to go over any lore or any add-ons or anything like that. Slightly decreases time to charge a Molotov cocktail. How long does it take to charge the cocktail? You never told me this. Slightly increases locker reload speed. You put here that remove to fire is decreased from 25 to 23 seconds. Okay. This should be a lot longer, because all you have to do is Molotov somebody, then chase them for 25 seconds and they go down. Actually, you ain't even got to chase them for 25 seconds, because they're not going to be able to extinguish the fire. Well, find a bucket and then extinguish the fire, unless the ores of the buckets are shown to survivors. But hey, you never mentioned that. This isn't said. Mildly decreases time to charge a Molotov cocktail. Slightly decreases time, so now you're repeating yourself because you have nothing else that you can buff, because you didn't say anything or include everything. Considerably decreases amount of time for survivors to remove the fire. 25 seconds to 17 seconds. At this point, the little bit of professionalism I have, I'm dropping. If you want reactions, I'll give you reactions. Guy, are you stupid? Are you absolutely positively off your rocker? 25 seconds is way too quick, so you're going to cut that down to 17 seconds. 17 seconds ain't even enough time to escape a chase for the most part. Literally, you're going to clonk a survivor when they're jumping through a window or slamming a pallet down or something like that. And then all you have to do is follow them for 17 seconds and they're going to fall over. So whether or not you want to hit them or not, they're going down. Essentially, you hit them with the Molotov and then you can just leave them to their own devices. They aren't going to find one of the 4 random water buckets scattered around. They're going to go down. There's no ability for them to pat themselves out or increase the timer or anything like that, you know? No, 17 seconds, boom, dying state. Then he makes them inflicted with the exhausted status effect for 35 seconds when they're hit with the Molotov. So once they get hit with the Molotov, they can't even dead hard or use any of their other perks to escape you now to get to a bucket. You are just going farther and farther down the bullshit rabbit hole, and you should be ashamed. You didn't think about any of this. Increase blood points when reloading a Molotov. Why would anybody ever play this? This is what I was looking for. Heck yeah. When a survivor is inflicted with the Molotov, they are exposed for 1.5 seconds. This is the kind of stupidity that I was hoping you were going to get into. 1.5 seconds isn't even enough time for you to end animation after throwing the Molotov. You're literally going to chuck said Molotov, and by the time you get your movement speed back to actually hit them, 1.5 seconds is already going to be up. Hindered for 4.5 seconds. Then we drastically decrease the time to remove the fire even more to 14 seconds. You realize that, let's say it's the end of a game and you have a survivor hooked and another survivor goes to save them. As soon as they pull them down, you throw a Molotov. Say they're not running borrowed time, he's just there to save his friend. You toss a Molotov. Bam, it lands on them. You realize both of those survivors are going to go down by the time they get to that exit door and escape. Heck, even if they're mid-map and kind of sort of near an exit gate, if you're in between them and the exit gate, they're not going to be able to get around you in that 14 seconds and escape. And they have 12 seconds to get to the entryway. Because it takes all of about 2 seconds just to get from the entryway out of the map. Roundabouts that. So they have 12 seconds to essentially get to the exit gate from where they are. Survivors move at 4 meters per second. 4 times 12 is what, like 60 or somewhere around there? I don't know. No, 5 times 12 is 60. So they have less than a minute to get to... Why did I do 5 times 12? What the hell was I talking about? The phone rang. Ah, yeah. Survivors move 4 meters per second. In 14 seconds, they can get essentially a little less than 60 meters. It's probably like 56 or something like that. They can essentially get 56 meters from wherever they're pulled down from. A little bit farther if you swing and hit them. So, you know, if you zone them correctly, they're not going to be able to escape before that happens, or they're going to be forced to go to a particular bucket. Since you wrote nothing about the bucket, they essentially have 60 meters to either find Hatch, which means one has to escape, and the other one has to be lucky enough to find Hatch after he escapes. Find a bucket, or escape the exit gate in that time. And the way you incorporate things, I wouldn't be surprised if your particular killer ran Blood Warden. To where you can just hit somebody when they go down, you pick them up, you slam them on the hook, Blood Warden activates, and then you just Molotov everybody at the exit door. Everybody falls over dead because they don't have enough time because they only got 14 seconds to find the water thing. And even if you get multiple survivors, they all can't use the same water bucket at the same time. So even if they all find one, 3 of them are going to go down, and 1 of them are going to get cleansed, which you're just going to hit them again with another Molotov. It's very repetitive. They cleanse themselves. As soon as they cleanse themselves, another Molotov hits them. It's a bucket of water, so it's going to take some time to respawn, instead of being like a fountain or something like the plague, where you can use multiple times. With a cooldown, of course. Cooldown in the plagues, being her whenever she wants to go over and activate that. But during this, it would be, X amount of time. Then you go from exposed from 1.5 seconds to exposed to 4 seconds. But I gotta see the iridescence. It decreases the time to remove the fire to 10 seconds. That's 40 meters. 10 seconds. 40 meters you got to lose the killer and then find a bucket to douse yourself. 40 meters. No other survivors can help put you out. You can't put yourself out or anything like that. 40 meters is all you got. And if you don't move, you got 10 seconds. And you're done. That's the end of it. How does this make any kind of sense to anybody? How this is incorporated? How does somebody create this, look at this and say, yeah, And then the negative that this has, it increases water buckets amount by 4. So now instead of having 4 randomly scattered throughout the map, you now have 8, but you have no time to get to them. You're not going to escape a killer and get to a water bucket in 10 seconds. It's not going to happen. Your balancing's all screwed up. And the negative towards killer increases charge up time by 5%. We don't even know what the charge up time is, and 5% is so minuscule that it does nothing. Michael Myers' tombstone takes a significant amount of time to charge up before he can start killing people right off the bat. Anybody who has something that is iridescent that has a negative in it, it makes them severely crippled to where, you gotta think about running it or not. Both iridescents ran together, is good, but no. I just don't understand how somebody can sit here, throw in a whole chapter, and look at their work at the end and say, yes, this is okay. Maybe you need to play Survivor more. I wish some of these people could go up against their own killer, which is why I wish I had the ability, like I said, to make these concepts. Pull that particular person into a match and then dump on them to make them see an example of how misconstrued their idea is. I was going to say something else derogatory, but there's no need to go there. Oh, boy. Deep breath. Okay. Survivor. Suzanne Gazella? Intermediate character. Also, what was hard about the particular arsonist? All you do is you throw a bottle and you clonk Survivor in the head with bottle and then they fall over dead. Essentially. There's nothing hard about throwing something at a survivor. There's no There's nothing in there that makes this killer hard. If anything, it makes the killer extremely easy to play. What exactly in part of this makes you think that this killer is hard to play? I'm really curious about that. Anyway, the first thing that this person has, now the first two things I'm seeing are boons. I understand that the artist just came out and another survivor came out with a boon. But why are you trying to introduce two new boons on top of that? You've already demonstrated up above that you can't handle the power of the boon. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and let's say that he knows the survivor stuff. And let's read and see what this says. Boon, potential vision. Upon entering the boon totem's range, see all the generators on the map. If the killer is 32 meters away from the boon totem, see their aura until they leave the 32 meter range. I wish you could see my face right now. Oh boy. I have that dash dot dash face of just like, just that really, that really face. You go into the boon and you can see all the generators on the map. Do you know how many other perks that allows you to see generators on the map? Why even add that? But then you double down and said if the killer is 32 meters away from the boon totem, you can see their aura until they leave the 32 meter range. The way this is wrote, you can only see the killer's aura when they're exactly 32 meters away from the totem. So if they come closer, it goes away. If they go further, it goes away. So you're just going to see a very brief flash as the killer goes through. What you should have said... Actually, no. I'm not even going to give you ideas because I don't even want you to reorganize this perk or anything like this. This perk needs to be thrown in the trash. It needs to be taken out. Stay away from boons. You can't handle them. But you have a second one, so you get a second chance. But you need to stay away from boon perks. You need to stay away from hex perks. You need to just make up some regular perks. Go ahead and view the DBD perk forum or website or whatever you want to call it, the wiki. That's what it is, the DBD wiki that has all the perks. Take some time, cruise through there, and learn something. Obviously, this is a no-go. Keys already have been nerfed to where you can't bring your entire party out because the hatch doesn't pop up till there's one survivor left. So if you ain't that one survivor, you ain't gonna be able to reopen hatch and leave. Keys already got hard nerfed. You're really gonna take away their ability to see killer. Because that's what you did. You took the exact words, well, not the exact words, but you took the exact dimensions of the key add-on, excuse me, and you added it to a boon totem. Then as a passive, for when the killer's not nearby, you can see all generators on the map. Nobody wants that garbage. Yeah, I'm gonna run out. Like, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have a survivor that gets injured. They're gonna run over to this totem, this boon totem that they see, expecting to have some sort of, positive effect that's going to heal them or something like that. They're going to be met with just potential vision, and they're going to be pissed. It's not going to be a complete pissed off, but it's going to be some pissed. Unless the killer's directly behind them. Now, I don't know if you've seen these cheater videos where the survivors have ESP and can see where the killer is through walls and things like that. But I do recommend that you go ahead and look up a hacker video or something like that. If you can tell exactly where killer is when they're near you, you can see through walls or anything like that, you can essentially run an infinite loop on that killer. You can tell which direction they're faking, if they're faking a wall or anything like that, and you can just go the opposite way or go around whenever they have their eyes off of you. And you can loop them essentially forever. They should never catch you. Because if they fake, you can tell whenever they're committing and when they're not, and you know that you can go and run a loop. And if they are doing something crazy, or they lose you, or they look a random direction or anything like that, you know you can just completely dip out, or hide, or do something else to break chase, then reinitiate chase and reuse the loop again. Or go drop a pallet on them, break chase, and then run the loop back again that you were just on that has the totem in it. If it activates the opposite, the flip side of it, if the killer is not inside the boon totem radius, you can see their aura, then that's even stupider. And I don't even need to explain why that's stupid for everybody to be able to see the killer on the map at all times. Don't even need to go there. Throw this perk away. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to change it. Throw it away. Second chance. Boon, German way. Okay. Your killer is an arsonist, and your perk is called German way. Think about that for a second. Take a long second to think about that for a second. And then ask me why I'm asking you to think about it. And if you can't think of why I'm asking you to think about it, you're a sick fuck. Anyway, upon entering the Boon Totem's range, see all the survivors on the map. Again, I've talked about this before. The only thing you need to see is whatever survivor it is that's being chased by killer, and if they're near you. Run empathy. Empathy lasts forever. There's no way to turn it off. You don't need to get it started. Anytime somebody's being chased by killer and they get injured, you'll be able to see exactly where they're running, exactly the actions that they're doing, etc., etc. That's all you need. There's other perks that they've incorporated into the game that allows you to see other survivors. You can get a key with the obsession ring to where you can see the obsession, whoever they are, running around at all times. There's lots of visuals to see other survivors. I mean, there's Kindred. If somebody gets hooked, you can see where all the other survivors are. If you get hooked, they can see where all the other survivors are. Like, stop incorporating other things that are in the game into this particular thing. Once they enter the Boon's 24-meter range, they will instantly be healed by 75%. They cannot be healed again until fully healed. They cannot be healed again until fully healed. They cannot be targeted by the particular boon perk until fully healed. perk's cooldown, or a perk only activates once until, or this effect occurs until fully healed, or cannot be activated again until fully healed. Any type of explanation other than that. I think my IQ is actually starting to drop reading all of this. You think that it's a good idea to rewrite essentially Circle of Healing to instantly heal people to 75%. My man didn't even go 50% like Circle of Healing technically does off base. Because if you lay it all out, if you're not using a med kit and you self-care, you get half. Instead of taking 32 seconds, you take 16 seconds. If you're using the med kit, you go from 16 seconds to 8 seconds. It's 50% efficiency. This guy, and remember that it's efficiency over time. This guy wants to immediately give you 75% as soon as you walk into this ore. %75 of 16 is equal to 12. As soon as you enter in this aura, if you have a med kit, it's only going to take you 4 seconds to heal. Which means double that for self-care. It's going to take you 8 seconds to heal. Same goddamn thing as Circle of Healing, except it requires you to have something else. You have to have a med kit to get the increased time. You have to have the self-care to get the increased time. Essentially same thing. It has a 25% efficiency increase over Circle of Healing. You literally just took that and made everything faster. When people say, like, if you incorporate this perk, the game literally will be survivor sided. Literally. Every survivor's going to run that. They're going to go to every totem on the map, and they're just going to bless them. And if you get hit, all you got to do is re-heal, have somebody heal you up for 4 seconds, or heal yourself up for 4 seconds while in chase. Run through the aura, boom, full heal. Or vice versa. As you're looping the killer, drop a pallet down, heal yourself the 4 seconds, and then boom, you're full healed and you can restart the loop or chase or whatever you're in. What's the point? What's the point? You had 2 options to give decent boon perks, and it's all garbage. Victim's Vision. When a survivor is hooked, gain a token. Okay, literally the last person's thing that I reviewed. You literally are just taking things from that particular thing, changing up what the words say after the activation, and adding in your own BS. Whenever survivors hook, gain a token. Lose a token upon saving a survivor. When losing this token, you and the survivor you rescue gain a 15% haste status effect for 20 seconds. You're just bad at this whole thing, aren't you? I don't think I've ever been as disappointed. In a concept. Delete this entire concept. Please. Delete it. It might be cruel of me to be this hard on this particular individual. Delete it. Gone. Hand off your arsonist idea to another creator that's going to take the time to nurture and raise this. Hand it over to somebody else or get rid of it. You're not ready yet, which I mean you only have 36 posts. You're not ready yet to come out with a chapter idea. Do some research. No, in all actuality, do some research. Check out the perks. Check out other people's concepts. The very big, detailed, very good looking ones. The obviously good looking ones. And then learn something. This is not a complete chapter. This is just a concept. Actually, it's not even a concept. It's just a rough draft of an idea. This is something that just popped into your head. You wrote it down and then you sent it. I hope I never have to run across this again. Even if it's the greatest concept in the world and it gets redone to be absolutely amazing. I never want to see anything like this ever again. Tuna DBD. You got some things to learn. Now, Gilly Bean. New perk idea for a survivor. Perk name. Think fast or quick reflex. Your blah 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 blah. Whenever you perform a medium vault, this perk makes it turn into a fast vault. Fast vault and gives you 6% vaulting speed. Think fast / quick reflex has a cooldown of 40 seconds, 60, 50, 40, or 40, 30, 20. Well, definitely not 20 seconds, I can tell you that much. I know why you want to introduce this perk, because the game can be bullshit when it comes to fast vaults versus medium vaults. I've went out and done a full line and should have gotten a fast vault and gotten a medium vault, and everybody knows if you do medium vaults, you're getting bumped. I understand where you're coming from, but no. Something like this, no. There's already quick vault builds and things like that use like spine chill, etc., etc., to give you faster vaulting just in case you do get a medium vault. You can't just change a medium vault into a fast vault. This perk would be extremely OP, because I can't tell you how many times I've medium vaulted and gotten bonked when it should have been a fast vault. Instead of trying to make a perk to fix something that needs to be fixed in game, well, not fixed, but needs to be altered and refined in game, I think you should take this entire post, say what you actually feel, and then put it in another feedback page. This is a common occurrence that you find with people, is they see something they don't like about the game and then they try to design a perk around the game that fixes the problem that they're seeing. It's not how you should go about doing that. You should go to the proper forum and say, hey, when are you guys going to fix your goddamn medium versus, fast vaults? There's already a speed vault build that you can run if vaulting is the only thing that you're really concerned with. You don't need to incorporate this perk. It is unique, I'll give it that, and I would love to have a perk that enables me to turn a medium vault into a fast vault. But we both know that that's not going to happen. It's part of the game. It's been part of the game for a long time. They might add it just to kind of, relieve some of that pressure. But on the same hand, I don't see it happening. Heck, I don't even really see them taking the time to actually fix the medium versus fast vault thing, because it's excuse me. It's by design, even though it's kind of glitchy at times, and depending on the map and the window you're running to, it gets very iffy. But I would really love it if they just tuned the fast vault versus, the regular vault. I also wish they would make a training map that has, it's just like a big old, like, the indoor airsoft arenas and things like that, where they just have walls up in different areas, and, windows here, things that you can run over, etc., etc. And it has markings on the ground and everywhere to show you, how fast or how far you have to start running from to get a fast vault, where you'll get a medium vault from, and just teach different aspects of the game as per course. And if they want to make it an actual playable game or map, then it is what it is. But it would make a good it'd make a good test map. It'll make a good tutorial map, and if they ever decide to open things up to workshop, it'll make a good base map that you can allow workshop maps to play on or play through, for whatever matter that is. Because like Rocket League, for example, the Neo Tokyo Underpass map, you can run files through it to get any type of custom apps you want through Workshop to work through Rocket League. There's been different launchers and things like that that always went through it until they actually incorporated themselves. So anything like that would be nice. Let's see. Wait, so if the vault becomes fast, does it still make the noise that notifies the killer? What? You must be new to the game. Medium vaults cause the killer to become aware too. It says medium vaults are turned into fast vaults. Yeah, it does. That's only if you medium vault. It's a perk that's supposed to be used in chase. If you want to get rid of the noise notification, run quick and quiet. I don't understand this individual's thing. Well, it was edited. Okay, it was edited. But it still says it was November 19th is when it was edited. This was the 23rd. What do you... I don't know where you're coming from, Silent. It says whenever you prefer a medium vault, it turns into a fast vault. Medium vaults trigger a noise notification. Fast vaults trigger a noise notification. The only thing that doesn't do is the slow vault. And then this guy half answers his question, but he says, yes, it does. But you're not 100% answering his question. I don't think he knows that only slow vaults or non-rushed vaults are the only things that don't notify killer. And I think he doesn't know the difference. I don't think he knows that there's 3 stages of vaults: the slow vault, the medium vault, and the fast vault. I think he only thinks there's 2, and he's gonna forever keep thinking that till somebody points it out for him. He notices it himself, or looks it up, or some other random thing happens. It's supposed to be a quick and a very quick review, but I guess I'm going to do the card mode for inscription, and then I'm going to stop there. And tomorrow I can do another chapter, do the 2 map concepts, and then a new survivor. Yeah. Well, I mean, hang on. How big is this? It's not big at all. It's just reskin things. I'm gonna leave it there. I did arson, I did new perk idea, I only did 2 concepts today. Which, I mean, that's the bare minimum of what I'm looking at. Both of these are map concepts. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. So that's not going to be spent a lot of time. These two ain't going to be spent a lot of time. That's not going to take a lot of time. And then you have a license chapter. It's not that long. I should be able to cut out all of that. So I can do 2 actual chapter ideas. So I'll go ahead and do this. Special mod for Inscription. I didn't even know there was mods for Inscription out at the moment. That must be actually amazing. If it's not just a reskin of other particular cards, which it looks like it is. It's just reskins. But it might be a design card. You know, he took the picture and then it lets you assign numbers per cards and what they do. Spirit artist. It's not bad. I like the idea of Inscription and Dead by Daylight coming together. And now you've got traps for Trapper. I don't know if I would make the Wraith ability to drop its tail and essentially avoid an attack, though. Interesting. Hillbilly Nurse obviously has flight. That's wild for the hag. The Doctor with Thorns? Guess he does deal in electricity, so sure. Sniper for the Huntress, obviously. Spirit has Rancor, so that makes sense to be able to insta-gib. The Plague they made stinky. Twins have bifurcate, I think is what that's called. Makes sense. Deathslinger digging for bones. I think that's what that is. The shovel digs for bones. Don't make any kind of sense to me, but I guess you gotta have something. He kind of literally has a gun though, so I figured you'd give him sniper or something like that. It is what it is. Artist with birds. Everybody says that Nay is the entity, so giving her the Ouroboros rebirth thing. The reborn makes a lot of sense. Springtrap. The hell did Springtrap come out of this? You must be one of those guys that were sad that Springtrap wasn't added in. It's an interesting idea. If you do make a mod like that, I might actually officially buy Inscription and try it out for mods. Don't know those of you that don't know, but if you, I'm not saying that I did, but if you torrent any type of game or you get it unofficially or from a third party or anything like that, that's not a, you know, an actual Steam edition or Epic or wherever you can buy it from, you cannot play any type of multiplayer. You generally cannot connect it to any type of internet, you know, or networking or anything through that particular company. So let's say I got this bootlegged. I can't throw it into Steam and then access the Steam Workshop because, well, it's not run through by Steam. It's just the base game. You can't incorporate it into Steam or anything like that because you will get banned and can be sued. And you generally can't access workshops, so you're going to have to find these mods somewhere out and then incorporate them into your game on their own, which most people just run through wherever they buy them, Steam, Epic, something like that. They go into the workshop, bada bing, bada boom, it's all done. There's no need to do all of that craziness. And yeah, if you ever think about torrenting the game, or you ever thought about it, just keep in mind if it's a multiplayer game, you can't play online with a torrented version. It doesn't happen. But anyway, I think I'll leave it here. This is a nice, beautiful picture of the artist, in spirit and all of that. The crew, with the boys and girls. She looking like a gangster, though. We'll leave it here. Looking very, 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 very forward to Chaos Theory. Like I said, I'm going to play the first little tutorial type mission through Restream. If it's scuff, I'm going straight to YouTube and dropping Twitch out of the Chaos Theory. And we're going to pick it up afterwards. Chaos Theory is going to take me, depending on how motivated I am, it's going to take me 3 to 5 days to complete. Now, if I just run through it, mission to mission on mission, and I remember everything, you know, thing for thing, I can beat it in about 2 days. I say 2 days because I actually have other things to do coming up. But I could beat it all in a day. I've beaten Chaos Theory in a day before. No issues. But I'm not going to. Because that was my childhood. This is nostalgia. So I'm at least going to try to take 3 days playing it. Which is scuffed as things usually are, with the controller dead zone and things like that. Which I guess the controller dead zone isn't going to be that much of an issue, because I ran it through Steam's universal controller program. I can't think of it right now. That essentially just makes every controller that you use into like a dummy generic remote. And then it assigns whatever values for the controller to the particular game. Essentially the same thing I was doing with the anti-micro, but Steam has it built into it. I couldn't get it to work with Splinter Cell 1, but I probably did something stupid when I was setting up settings or anything like that, or I don't know. But it does work with Chaos Theory for the most part. So, no weird setups, no more me falling off ledges and things like that, because it has dynamic movement in the game. So I don't no longer have to click and hope he'll actually just do it on his own. Very much looking forward to it. I'm going to try to start it tomorrow, because I know if I start it today, I'm not going to get anything else done. I'm actually kind of... I actually do have something to do tomorrow. I think I'm just going to forego it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a 1 mission at a time. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, maybe 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I go to it. Like I said, this is going to be a shorter stream. It's 1 hour and 40 minutes as opposed to the 3 to 5 hours that generally pop up. But anybody stopping by, I guess I should apologize for being overly rough on that particular person's review. But I mean, laziness gets what laziness does. Like stupid is as stupid does, laziness is as laziness does. They didn't put any effort into it, and then they posted it on the forum, which, since I do reviews off of forum things, I'm just getting tired of it. Every other thing, like the forum's dying, nobody really has that creativity really flowing that much anymore. There's still some good posts, but the majority of them are just lazy thoughts. It's not good. I want some magic, some creativity. I want to know what's going on in your mind and why you think you should push this concept and my behavior should pick it up. Not just, oh, I got an idea for a killer. He burns things. Not with the flamethrower, nah, he uses a Molotov. He hits you with it, you got a little bit of time to put the fire out. How do I put the fire out? Yeah, there's a bucket. There's about 4 of them that spawn in the map. Perk wise, yeah, let's just come up with, well, this perk sounds decent. Yeah, I like, infectious fright. Let's make a perk that's similar to that and put that down with the ore reveal and the screaming. But I can't have it exactly the same, so I guess I like barbecue and chili too. So let's make it the opposite of barbecue and chili so I can run both perks at the same time. And I can get barbecue and chili, some stuff like that. And then when I play well, I can get both triggers and I can see if anybody's nearby. If nobody's nearby, I can then go for the closest survivor and I can see where everybody's at and have absolute control. My killer idea is also super OP, so I ain't even got to worry about chasing survivors. I just walk up to them, hit them with the Molotov, and go to the next survivor. They'll drop in about 10 seconds. You ain't even got to worry about chasing them or anything like that. It's cool. They won't ever find the buckets. Oh man, I'm on a 200 win streak. Ain't nobody can stop me, man. I'm the greatest Dead by Daylight player ever. Heck yeah. Let's go. My concept's amazing. All of that. It's got nothing to do with my killer's OP and doesn't give any survivors any type of way to actually combat me. Nah, it's got nothing to do with that. It's all pure skill. Anybody who says anything else, GG. Get good, noob. Get good, scrub. And etc., etc. Either way, even in situations like that, you know what that person forgot to do? You want to know why his killer concept wasn't that good? I'm going to tell you right now. Because he didn't supplement his lifestyle. I am QTASTIC. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.